The one time Andy Warhol got political, it cost him a lifetime of aggravation. Warhol made a poster in support of George McGovern that seems to have offended one Richard Milhouse Nixon, 37th President of the United States, who was McGovern's opponent in the 1972 presidential election. Nixon wasn't all bad. He established the EPA, he opened up China, and he even opened up to the public one of the best surf spots in the country, Trestles in San Clemente, California. But for a politician who made his name going after communists as a member of the House Un-American Activities Committee, for a man known for insecurity and paranoia, well, this is not someone you want to offend.
I am holding in my hand a microfilm, a very highly confidential, secret State Department document.
But what do you do when Nixon sends you a letter asking you to recommend exceptional individuals from your social network to work with the White House? Well, if you're Andy Warhol, you ghost Nixon. The half-page letter sent in 1968 was apparently an earnest attempt by Nixon to make inroads into youth culture, though it's hard to know what Nixon meant by exceptional individuals. Probably Andy Warhol didn't either and decided not to reply, but kept the letter and the attached forms as mementos. We have to assume that Nixon stewed a bit over Warhol's snub, then moved on to larger presidential tasks. The offense probably wasn't enough to set off the then president-elect, but maybe just enough of a slight to be remembered. It's hard to imagine two more disparate worlds colliding. Perhaps Nixon thought Warhol was part of the silent majority. What may have really galled Nixon was that 1972 poster Warhol made in support of George McGovern, the Democratic nominee for president. Warhol defaced a Newsweek cover photo of Nixon and his wife Pat, using his signature style of underpainted screen printing, adding a handwritten "Vote McGovern" under Nixon's ghoulish grin. What stands out here is that Warhol chose a good photo of Nixon, a professional cover photo, then debased it. Warhol is essentially saying, "This is Richard Nixon, now vote McGovern." By applying a few colors in the right way, Nixon becomes villainous. Or maybe Warhol was just revealing what was already there. But either way, Warhol's poster was just not enough to push George McGovern over the edge in the 1972 presidential election. McGovern lost 49 states to Nixon. But the landslide victory didn't sate Nixon's appetite for settling scores. Nixon kept an official list of political enemies that was revealed during the Watergate hearings. The list was part of Nixon's opponents' project that sought to use the available federal machinery to screw political enemies. The weapon of choice? IRS audits. Was Warhol on Nixon's list? Not officially. But after making the Vote McGovern poster, Warhol was audited by the Internal Revenue Service every year for the rest of his life. Warhol was convinced the audits were punishment for the poster. Warhol wrote in his diaries, "I wanted to do something clever, so I got that bright idea to do a green face of Nixon with Vote McGovern under it. And that's when the IRS got so interested in me." Richard Nixon was not a glamorous man, and was self-aware enough to recognize this fact. He blamed his 1960 loss to John F. Kennedy on the televised debates, the power of image over substance. But maybe the power of the image exposed Nixon in ways he didn't like or couldn't control. A whole generation of editorial cartoonists found Nixon to be easy fodder, and caricatured him as the epitome of crookedness and villainy. We can only imagine how Nixon received Warhol's poster. Did it cut especially deep considering Nixon's 1968 overture to Warhol? Or was it just one more jab in a sea of ridicule?